I've been reading this book, Social, and I'm here to tell you today different venues and places to meet women that one will add to your levels of happiness, and two are very conducive if you're a very shy or introverted person, or your strengths lie outside of your physical features, your dominance, your confidence, your verbal skills, and how these can be a huge benefit to you in these venues. So let's get started. Okay, first and foremost, bars and nightclubs, parties, these seem to be like the go-to place. I don't know what it is, pop culture, whatever. They seem to imply that these are the places that you must go to meet attractive women. Lately, however, I've heard from a lot of different sources, um, some of which who have had no dating advice experience whatsoever, just normal people, uh, that there are plenty of other places. And I've been recommended a few in particular a few times in terms of meeting people. And they are, in no particular order, volunteering, charity work, intramural sports leagues, recreational sports leagues. So I find this very fascinating. And in this book, Social, basically, it talks about the idea that we are all wired as humans to be very social creatures. For most of our history as the human species, we grew up in communities where we knew most, if not all, of the people in it from the time we were born until the time we die. And we've sort of lost that and lost a lot of happiness because of that, based off our new modernization with the cities and constantly moving and flying to different areas and not forging strong social bonds because we're in front of our computers all the time. So why is this important? And why is this very valuable? Well, basically, the studies show that uh, there are monetary levels of happiness that can be gained from joining these volunteering and social organizations and expanding your social network. Um, and all these studies show that every factor from the strength of your social connections to the size of your social network to the number of friends that you can deeply confide in. And again, it doesn't have to be a huge number. Usually it's from going from 0 to like 3 people that you can confide in on your strong, pressing issues on a day-to-day basis, or seeing new people that you know on a day-to-day basis, or making new friends, or going to groups and communities and sports leagues where you can volunteer and you know the people. They can add anywhere from $25,000 to up to $400,000 a year in terms of your happiness salary. So what was that all mean? Basically, long story short, like it's equal to adding that amount of money to your salary in terms of raising your happiness. And so what should we do about all this? Basically, I'm saying go to some of these venues I mentioned, and perhaps you can start meeting women there or men there. And it's very fascinating because it's one of those things where it's like you can go to these venues and your strengths, especially if you're introverted, will shine, and it'll be very conducive to all the things that you are oftentimes scared of or anxious about or you suck at if you're in a bar or nightclub environment. I don't know what it is, I know a lot of girls and guys who go to these venues and they think that this is the place to meet people. And they go out trying to meet people in these places. Again, I don't want to generalize because I know people who understand that this isn't the place and they get very mad if you tell them you're going to these places to meet people. On the flip side, though, I do know people who still think like this, and it's mind-boggling. I don't know what it is. They think they'll go to these places and then meet the, someone who's like awesome on a lot of levels. However, you know, volunteering in sports leagues and these types of things it works in a lot of beneficial ways because you are sitting there and you don't have to uh, really approach in the way that you will in a bar or nightclub, where based off the venue itself, it's very daunting and so forth. That's something you can work and get over, of course, which is very helpful and beneficial. But in these sort of venues, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you still have to do something. You can come in and they will approach you, or you can approach them, and it can be very indirect. You don't have to go up and be like, "Hey, I find you cute." I don't have a problem with that anymore. But if you do, like, and you really just can't, or you don't want to, like, it works the same way, and there's no like, it's not like a huge benefit. I used to think that like, if you didn't go straight up and tell them this truth immediately, and you're very direct with it, you're playing below your level of advantage, and I don't think that's true at all. Um, Coming in very indirectly, it can play a lot of benefit because oftentimes it allows, like some girls, it requires some time for them to warm up to you, and they're not like light switches. I don't think a lot of guys, I mean, some guys are very much like light switches, but not all of them. I think for me, um, it takes some time to warm up and really gauge this person. So these sort of environments help you tremendously because you can sit there and get to know that person, and they can get to know you. And perhaps if they don't find you initially attractive, over time, as you start accentuating your qualities of intelligence, your achievements, what you do for work, your passions, your interests, while you're doing something like volunteering or a sports club or whatever it is, and working towards something which you have a common interest in, boom, you can start showing this person how awesome you are. And if nothing else works out, you remain friends and they have female friends, which you may be able to introduce yourself to in the future. So that's how it works in general, in theory at least. And so I'm going to try this stuff out. I volunteered once before in school a couple years ago. It had some of these qualities, but again, I did not establish strong bonds with the people there where I could remain in contact afterwards. So again, testing some new things out. I do think in certain ways, despite the social venue, especially if you're introverted, there's still a certain level of pushing the comfort zone you have to do, pushing forward to remain in contact, or really going out of your way to start a conversation or connect or say what you want, yada yada yada. So that's all we want to say in a nutshell. Thanks for watching. See you later.